couple follow-up thoughts on what Kathleen Friedel had to say about the opioid crisis. Just as addiction doesn't happen in isolation, recovery doesn't happen in isolation. Addiction is a community process. It happens when entire groups of people find their lives filled with despair, when they find they have no hope, no alternative, no prospects for the future. It happens when people cannot get jobs, when people do not anticipate a better lives for their children, but in fact expect their children to live worse lives than they themselves have led. It happens to white rural communities in the Midwest. It happens to communities of color in the urban East and urban West. It is a social problem and it requires a social fix. Let's also discuss what it does not require. Recovering from addiction does not require that Republicans throw billions of dollars onto their budget, onto their health care bill, to try to mask the fact that that bill is tearing apart the social fabric that keeps people alive, the continuity of treatment that keeps people alive, and that gives them a chance to achieve recovery from addiction. Now, they've been throwing around huge numbers for Republicans who supposedly don't like to spend money. We've seen $2 billion for opioid treatment. We've seen $45 billion for opioid treatment. It is very possible and likely, in fact, that there's a racial element, that they're throwing so much money to a predominantly white drug crisis and so little to drug crises that affect our inner cities. But be that as it may, money is necessary, but it is money for the entire social contract, for health care, for jobs, for an economy that works for everyone in our inner cities and our rural communities. It is a change in the way we think about the economy and in the way we think about addiction that is needed now in order to save lives. The time is now. The need is urgent. The need traces back to that fabric that has kept us one country, or has sought to make us one country for so long, the fabric that too many politicians in Washington are trying to tear apart.